Welcome back on Dynamo. Today I want to propose you a video about the review and the spoiler part about the happenings that we can find in the Brocherium saga with Moratti, Teclis, Belacco and Kragnos books. I want to remember you that there will be not in every of such releasing the events that are. So here I'll talk about the main events, what happened, some consequences and something that it's linked to the other parts and so on, but not everything that it's inside because it's quite rich and it's worth to read by yourself eventually. Still, there will be part of the background and some of the links that can interact between each other and so on, starting from Moratti and then moving on. So like you are reading them, so I suggest you to follow such step. So first Moratti, then Teclis, then Belacco and then Kragnos. And really, you can find a lot of information, but still I suggest you to read the books themselves because I think that they are really quite amazing and they are worth the reading, and eventually also to make some deeper thoughts with using, for example, Black Library books of the same area of age as releasing. So it's really quite intriguing because this is going to link the previous Necroquakes, the events that we have found from the Soul Wars, the Maleportents and so on, and then the Necroquake, and then the Brocherians, and we'll see what to continue with. So I think that it's really quite intriguing part. So this is an intro that make you understand what I'm going to bring you. Still, I suggest you to continue to see such video to see the parts that I explain about, and then seeing the other videos too, so that you can follow everything and continue to understand better this saga that I found amazing, so much that finally I have brought them together. So now we can begin. And Teclis, second book of the Brocherium saga, released by the Games Workshop. I want to remember you that this has been outdated about the rules completely, but the part about the background images and so on, it's amazing and still valid. So we go to see. So now we go to see a bit better about the book itself and the contents. The cover itself bring out Teclis that I don't like too much as Modern Son, but I admit that the cover is amazing. Here we have the side that it's blue and it's related about the main color about the illuminated themselves, and here we have the back. So here we can find something that it's really quite amazing, and it has a lot of things to see about. So now we open and go to see the contents inside. The back cover here, it's really quite amazing. I like with such shade of blue, and it's about the Illuminated against Slaanesh, but it's amazing. And here instead we can find this that we can say it's a sort of preview of what will happen inside the book, because it brings you quite a lot of things to read. Here we have the contents, and here we have the main characters that are inside, and we can understand the armies that will be inside, mainly ones, because we have the part about Nagash, we have the part about the Luminate, and also other things. They are really quite amazing one. And here a sort of preview of what it's complicated to see about. Here we have this that if the book is about Teclis, this is Tyrion in the version of the magical beast that has become, so quite interesting. And now we can begin with the part about the background. Here the background starts from the invasion by the Nectaunt to the Luminate on Haish, and it's really quite interesting because it's a way to see how they are going to react to each other, and it's a way to, I can say, hurt the Illuminated themselves, and it's really quite interesting. And you can find a lot inside of here, and here we have that Teclis goes to make a sort of threat to Nagash, and really here becomes really quiet. And we'll start first because there are a lot of reasons because Nagash assaulted Haish, because there are souls that has been taken back from Teclis that shoot that gun to Shaish and so on, and so it's really quite interesting. And really something that it will come to real with this, because with this act we can find that the war from Daesh moved to Shaish, because here Teclis wants to bring the war on the Austrian Empire, because they wanted to have the sort of having everything it's punishable, even death itself and so on. But something that I quite like it's that even if in this book it's related about Teclis and how big it is, we see that Teclis really it's a meager figure, because he tried to assault Sheish, but it does this when Nagash it's not available, when Catacross it's outside battling against the Chaos. So really it makes such a big effort to punish not the main part about the Austrian Reaper Empire, so the capital of Catacross, but another one of the main one, and still the only thing that it can happen to reach is to try to destroy some statues and so on that you want. Then it make against Vukmortian, and Vukmortian simply mock him, because it's not so a big thing to have destroyed those big statues about the Catacross and so on that was animated. And really you have to remember that it's not the first time, and Vukmortian simply declared that gods can fall then too. And really here you can see in some way the independent thoughts of Vukmortian, because it's a notable reapers that mock gods, and it has reasons to do. So it's really quite interesting, because all the book it's related about Teclis knowing that it's doing something useless, and at the same time it try to make himself worth of what it's going to do. So quite strange. And so here we had that there is such type of comeback from the Austrian Reapers, because we had at first we have only the Praetorians, because it was related about having a revenge against Catacross. Who know why? Anyway, because they are the best of the Osrak, I don't know. Anyway, then we had that it participated to such battle, the ones related about the Stoliarch. So it comes really quite interesting, because really there is something to take note. Moreover, to win the, or better, to try to win the Haish soldiers, so the Illuminate, simply burn their own dead and the Osrak ones, to make that they are less available about having their replacement for their own dead. So it's quite intriguing. Moreover, here we have a dialogue from to Teclis and Alariel to make know that it will start something that we'll see in the next one, that it will be in the future about Gur, and in some way we see clearly in the fourth of the Procarians book. I can anticipate you anyway. So it can become really quite intriguing. And this that it's the war about the Mortarchs. It's because after that has been invaded Sheish, we have a comeback from Nagash that tried to send its Mortarch to a different type of realms, because it tried to improve the ways that as the nadir of Sheish. So we have that Manfred goes to the Lai one, so to Giran, and here we can see that Manfred tried, but without having a real resolve. So it makes seem that he tried a lot, but he simply had to retreat because it failed, and it's not his fault. And Sicily, it played quite good about this, because it goes against Nagash and the Vudels, and at the same time it makes that it brings up a war that it's quite nice, because it sacrifices a lot of demon, a lot of Giran people, and at the same time it loses only some undead. Okay, a lot of undead, but not so important ones. Instead, here we have that have Neferata bringing war, but on Chamon. And here we have quite a lot of interesting parts, because it makes that playing everything wonderful and so on, and it's only because has been noticed by a single Catacron Overlord, that it's a female one too, and really it's something that it's quite fun, because thanks to that notice it has been told about some Luminate that it was around there, and those Luminate were powerful enough to contact someone powerful, so that okay, Neferata has been played against by Fate or by Jibu, not to make Chamon fall, otherwise Neferata has been able to doing such type of things, and it lost something, but it makes a lot of losses on the Luminate, really quite a lot, and quite powerful ones losses. And then we have the part about Arkan that makes the invasion about Haish again. So here it's really quite interesting, because we can see the second type of army about the Osirk, because it brings its own myriad army that it's quite against the magic. So we have seen the ones related about the Praetorian, the Stoliarch, and now the myriad. We'll not see the one about the Crematorians that I love, and sincerely it's a pity. Okay, I hope that we see them in the future. So Arkan before tried to invade Haish from I can say an obscure point that it was not observed by the Illuminate, but it's found out, so they battle and so on, and at the end Arkan it's made move back to Shaish from Haish itself. I risk to mistake some pronouns, but here it is for now correct. So they are doing such, but once that come back, Arkan simply move to another part of the Realm Gates and so on, to make that it invades a different part about the Realm Gates for Haish. So in such a way, now it's brought against the Eltarion, that it was an opponent that Arkan himself battled in the old world, and it killed Arkan, killed Eltarion itself. So now it's a sort of revenge, so they are battling against each other and so on, till, because they are battling against the edge of Aish itself, Arkan at the end it's brought outside the edge, and its mount follow him. And here we can find a lot of discussion about, because in some way we can find that it's said that only the ones that has a strong will can survive outside the edge itself of Aish. And I doubt that Arkan it has not enough will to do such. At the same time, they say that it simply lost its body, and that it's something problematic and so on, but we are talking about Arkan, that is specialized on souls, it's a master of the Osirk Reapers, so really it's such a problem that Nagash lost eventually is Arkan has lost its body and so on? I don't think so. So I'm quite curious to see how it come back, him and its mount, because I'm quite curious about, because it's something that we'll have to see. Here we can find about the battles, the main ones that has been brought about the different battles for the different realms. And here we have the Clash of Gods, where we can find Nagash now, because he wants to bring a demise of Aish, invade by itself and a part of the armies of the Osirk Reapers, Praetorians principally, invade again Aish, but this time make in all force, so it goes and break apart, and it's quite nice, because we can find the comparison about what happened when Teclis brought war against the Osirk Reapers, not Nagash itself on Shaish, not the main city of Cataclysm on Shaish, but one of the main cities of the Crematorian, of the Osirk Reapers themselves on Shaish, and still at maximum break some stones, and it can't go on. Nagash instead brings a bit of an army with itself, and simply it's not blocked, because it moves as it wants without any problem directly on the main part of Aish, really quite tranquil. And you need to block him an army of Luminate that has to be blocking the part about the Osirk Reapers. And then we have Teclis, and the combination of a lot of weapons related about Aish of the Mortals, that when Nagash is battle against Teclis, use the battle power of Tyrion to improve themselves, to give a, I can say, really sneak attack of Nagash when it's battle against Teclis. So it's really quite intriguing, because we can find that it's a way to understand that Teclis it's not so powerful at the end, because it has to retreat and so. Okay, Nagash lost its body, and we see in the future that it can be quite problematic, because we'll find in the next one about the books that it's took how it has redacted. And you can find also in the books of the Black Library some news related about, because we can find that it can be talked about in the book of Nagash, the Dai King, that create a new Mortark that I'm quite curious if we'll see about them in the future and we have something else. And how its mind it is, because it has lost quite a lot of, like I say, conception of itself. Here we can find that the war of the Illuminate it's not simple, because during the battle against the part about the option that we have related about the Ossebo Reapers against the Illuminate, the ones that has been left aside by Arcan, those Ossiarch made a sort of pact with the Fresh-Eater Kurz, and only cause there's been a bit of rebellion about the Fresh-Eater Kurz, there's been problems, and the Illuminate had some options about. Otherwise, simply the Illuminate would have even more catastrophic and would have lost even more bad about. So it's really quite intriguing one. So here we can find about the demise, if you want, of Nagash. And here the talking about the part of Teclis against talking to Alariel. But it's quite intriguing, because at the end Alariel mocked Teclis again. And again it said that Teclis simply done something that it was useless. And really, it's a way that it's like Teclis, it's a baby making some things to try to pick tumble or some, okay, if it's okay for him. And here we had the part about the rules. About the rules, as I said, they are not available, because if you are going to play the second edition of Age of Sigmar, they're still valid. Otherwise, we have yet the third edition, and I don't know when you see this video, but you can have even a future edition again. And here I suggest you to read to have the idea about the background that are inside here, because they're quite interesting. Eventually the concept of the campaign, see how, for example, there are the different places about the, for example, the Ians and so on, that can be quite interesting. But I think that it's quite intriguing about the part about the battle plans, to understand how you can eventually create your own battle plan, the images that are always nice, and moreover about the background that you can find in the description and so on. And I think that this it's really quite useful, because there are a lot of things. Here we have the Battletome updates that again they are useless, because you can't use them because there has been declassified. They are not anymore available. But anyway, you have something that can be fun, for example, images, some description, some things that can be quite nice, even if they are not anymore valid. And so we have a lot of things to gain. Simply, I pity that these ones have not been redone, for example, with the new options for the Fresh-Eater Kurz and the Stalliarch. But anyway, it's quite nice. And here we have literally a Battletome related about the Illuminate Realm Lords. Okay, about here, I suggest you to read only to have fun, because it has been changed quite a lot, and really, as we've seen, a publishing really only 2 months later that has been released such book of a new book about the Illuminate, and that one too has been published again, changed. But the part about the background, it's still valid, so it's a way, for example, for myself to know better the Illuminate themselves, even not having the Battletome of the Illuminate, because this part, this background is still valid, is still okay, so it will be improved in the future, okay, but at least if I want to know a bit better about the Illuminates, it's something that it's worth, in my opinion. And the images are still amazing, and I like because I can use them to, for example, create some Diorama on, even not related about the Illuminate, but using some referral like this. Here we can find some images. It's literally a Battletome about the Illuminate, but still it's a way to know a bit better about such army that usually I don't care too much, because I'm not interested. So all the rules and so on as a little part of description that anyway can be quite useful, and you can have, for example, the description of the runes. That can be also something interesting. As you see, there are a lot of things that even if you don't play the Lumineth, can be a way to improve your knowledge of Aish, of the Lumineth themselves, in the way that it's an army that you have to go against and so on. So it's quite nice. Here, as you can see, we have also these ones, so we can see a bit of the models and the rules that are not anymore valid. So it's really quite intriguing to have and having fun about. And then we have again this and the end of the book, that this one. So what to say about such book? I think that it's amazing because it's part of the series about the Broken Realms. It has a lot of background. It's really full of things. It can show you the natures of the plants of the realms themselves. So Aish, Chamon, Shaish themselves, the armies, the relationship between the different armies themselves. Because we have the Night Hound, we have the Lumineth, we have the part about the Fischer Kurz, the Osseboripes, different parts of the Osseboripes. We have a lot of intrigues, and so the Sulbrecht Gavelotz, because we have the part related about Manfred and Neferata. So there are really a lot of mix, and I like, because if the previous one was only limited about the realms that there was inside, here we have really a spreading, we have really a battle that it's confused and continues to change everything, because there are battle tactics applied, and I really like, because it makes really quite interesting. Obviously, there are things that you could think silly, because Teclis that it's not able to even do anything useful on Sheish. Okay, you see Nagash losing his body and so on at the opposite, so they are quite similar in that way. But at the end, you have also to remember that the other chapters that are brought, they are really quite interesting. Even the fact that the Fischer Kurz and the Osser clash against each other after being ugly and so on, it's really a good thing to understand better the armies themselves. And in such a way, I like quite a lot. So, from Dynamod, it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video, or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again to the next time.